I grew up learning to always solve problems around me. And I was very curious about, okay, so how do we get this from this stage to that stage? And then at some point it was for me about, okay, how do we start optimizing these processes?
This is a story of a man driven by necessity. A story of teamwork. A story of taking a chance. A story of confronting a challenge, not just for his family, but for every student, every home, and every business.
How were you able to connect the building blocks to emerge as being one of the faces of this industry?
There's nothing that beats the power of compounding. Don't take away from doing really good quality stuff, which is something that I think sometimes frustrates me a lot. Many people are very shabby in the kinds of work they do, and I think we just need to sort of turn a leaf in that sort of area.
We follow him to the Greenage office in Transekulu, where innovation pulses through every project, from electrical solutions for tricycles and buses to next-generation inverter technologies and Ubuntu in action.
This is from Revive Earth. This is like some of our alpha versions of electric three-wheelers in Enugu State. So Revive Earth is a company that we incubated at the hardware garage, which is another thing that we co-founded a few years ago. And then from incubating them at the hardware garage, we gave them sort of the training, the enabling environment to be able to sort of start practicing some of the things they knew, taught them some things about like battery systems and how to convert these things. And the beauty about this is that these really young, hardworking guys were actually able to turn this dream into reality. So as of today, we have over 10 of these three-wheelers in Enugu, applying various routes actually. So like this one, for instance, goes all the way to like Noah's and back. And then as part of sort of the supporting infrastructure we give them, we just put in like a really small mini charge station here. And this charge station is able to charge this thing in less than an hour. And this can just, move and operate for the whole day. But this charge station is like again, makeshift. At the moment, we are already planning now with the Enugu State government and with Tennessee Professional Services. And we're going to build really massive, charge stations in Enugu State where we'll probably bring in the governor and a few other people to launch it. And we are looking at the bus terminals, some places at the Centenary City, and sort of optimizing the locations for distance to enable EV transition in Enugu State. Enugu is going to be a smart city, don't worry.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So these guys are actually doing some of the hard work.
Okay. This is the conversion process.
Yeah. And a lot of this, they are moving to a more permanent place where they will have like their entire workstation, and a lot of the process will become automated basically. So they're going to just have a way, just take out the engine, put in the drivetrain, put in the batteries. And the next thing we want to do is for the batteries to be swappable. Oh. Right, so essentially, instead of waiting for like an hour to charge, you just go to the charge station, you drop your old batteries, you take a new one, and then move on. So it's just going to reduce that range anxiety that people have with like EVs.
And I guess that is where, that's what we don't see when we're in front. This is actually where the connection is.
Yeah. But this is like the pretty, again, unrefined model.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So again, you see how I said this, they are very sort of smart young guys. So we just tell them, let's think about swappable batteries, and they're already sort of building something so that you can carry it and put in this, right?
How are these young guys trained? What's the training like for them? How do they acquire this knowledge?
So first, it's easier when you already have some engineering background. So you can understand current, power, voltage, etc.
Now you put in lots of other departments in their place now.
No, I'm just saying for some really because some of these things can be a bit dangerous if you don't understand what's happening. And then when you understand those things, then it's now easy to go through the sort of real practical sort of approach of saying, this is how then you're able to use this current or this power to create the utility that you need. So if you go to GTC now, somewhere close to ShopRite, we've set up like an entire classroom or like where we're actually going to teach the students in the technical, vocational center of Enugu State, how they can actually start using some of these tools. So I actually wanted to do the video there, but I was like, no, we'll not do just government stuff all the way. So we'll do some more private stuff as well. But essentially, if you go inside here, you see some of the stations, you know, the boards that were printed, and how, you know, we train people to say, okay, try doing this very simple thing, something that switches on and off. And then from there, it gets more complicated to something that could write your name, to something that could power your house, to something that could drive your car.
Would you say that this place is more of a training center than anything else? More of a place that people can come and get hands-on training?
Yeah, the people get hands-on training here, but it's beyond that. This place has produced thousands of inverters and charge controllers already over the past few years. Hey, how are you, man? Yeah. Oga George, how are you? He's the person from Revive Earth.
Nice to meet you.
The people doing the EV conversion.
Great.
See how his hands are. He has removed many engines today. And then, for instance, so this thing was produced entirely in this place, right? So this is what we call the New Gen Ultra. It's a solar generator. With this, you could power your home, basically. But what is interesting is that, so not many people have enough money to buy these really big systems. For instance, like the one I showed you there was like 100K USD. So some people just have like $500 or something to buy their systems. And what we found out is that when you give people power, they start to get more money. Because they can use the power for more productive uses, and then they can save up and then keep buying. So we had to develop an in-house solution for how to give access to electricity. And what we came up with is, look, instead of doing this system that nobody can modify, we have to build a system that you can grow small, as we call it. So this is the inverter unit itself. And this is one battery pack, right? With this, maybe you get 4 hours backup. And then when you start running with this for a while, and then you start getting more money, you can call us and say, I want to expand my backup. We say, okay, buy another battery pack and just put under this.
And it keeps
so you can just keep, doing this and sort of just connecting this. And eventually you build up your entire system yourself, right? And this is like the beauty of indigenous innovation.
So how do you source the supplies that you use to make these inverters?
This thing probably has like 500.
This is more of a generator. This is actually a generator. So how do you source the supplies? Do you source them locally?
Some are local, but some you have to import, right? So if you think of like some transistors and some resistors, to build maybe one resistor, you need a factory that is again this large. So you need maybe 500 supporting factories to do this, right? So again, so that's why the US had this problem recently with chips when they started having this trade war with China, because there are some things that they must get from China, and there are some things China must get from the US.
That's so now international trade.
Exactly. So now the world is sort of interlinked in that way. So a lot of these chips we have to get from, say, Singapore, US, or China. But then some of the materials, like some of the cables, for instance, you could get some of them from like Kutix in Anambra, etc. And then you're able to blend this local and foreign thing. But then what is most important in every product is the intellectual property. That's right. So the intellectual property is domiciled in this building, right? So whatever it is that we tell people in wherever to do the specifications, they produce it exactly like that. And that's why, for instance, if you take your iPhone and look at it, it's either made in China or Vietnam or something, but the intellectual property is right here in San Francisco. And that's the most important thing about that.
So how do you ensure the security of this intellectual property? Because if one man leaves your team, possibility you have 10,000 new gen ultras.
Yeah.
So how do you secure that intellectual property?
Well, everything is fully documented. And few people have access to the document. And then there's also a way to file for patents. So if there are some very specific things that you cannot expose to the general public, you file for a patent. And then even if someone else has access to it, if they use it, then you can actually sort of sue them or they pay you compensation for this. Yeah.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
So I guess there's more to see then.
There's way more to see, for sure.
All right. So what's this one called?
It's a robotic pick and place machine.
All right.
So you place this here, and then you basically sort of set this up, give it the full dimensions of this, and then feed in the components. And what it's going to do is that this will automatically place the components in the exactly right location. So even if you have 1,000 different components, it places all of them in a precise sort of location.
Right.
And then all you need to do after that is just to put it into this. And this basically just heats up. So you see, it's warm actually. I think someone wants to do something. Yeah, something is probably inside. Okay, so you see. And then that then keeps this sort of permanently in position, right? And then this then goes into some of those inverter systems that you say.
Very precise. I mean, I feel like something is baking now.
Yeah.
Something is definitely baking.
You could imagine if a human being had to carry this tiny component and put here themselves.
That would be almost impossible.
A lot of error. And this, okay. You remember when I talked about the Ubuntu box? So this is the Ubuntu CPU. So this is what actually controls the power sharing that we are going to talk about soon. Yeah.
That's really cool. Yeah. That's impressive. I think what I've learned from this now is that it's really all about the detail. You can't have any human error. You can't have any mistake with where things are placed. If not, you have substandard pieces.
Yeah, you have a lot of angry people calling you.
Exactly.
Meet Esime Aaron. Esime Aaron is the general, the literal.
Hello. Hi, good
Esime, meet Natalie. She's from Afia Tibo.
Good afternoon.
Yeah. Aaron is one of the original brains behind Greenage. Funny stories when I don't know if you remember, but the accident I told you about, he came to visit me in Emeka, then in Independence Layout. Then he was like, I know you are sick, I'm sorry, you get well soon, but look, this thing really carry me, come here. I know say your leg would be okay. And then we now started talking about this whole sort of idea, and I was like, yeah, wow, this is really amazing. And you know, like, in his head alone is where there's a lot of intellectual property. So between Aaron, Isaac, Kingsley, Uche, you could basically do anything you want to do in this world. Like, I have no fear at all. Like, I could literally be speaking to the MD of MHI and tell them, we can do this. And I know that we can do it because there's this really amazing guys.
There's nothing in the world better than being able to trust your team, because at the end of the day, you have to trust them to execute it. And being the one at the face of the company, if anything goes wrong, they're coming to you.
Yeah. But then beyond trusting your team, I think if you have an A team, so A players work with A players, B players will look for plenty C players.
That's true.
And then you now have bureaucracy. That's what happens in many institutions. But you see with these A players, right? These 5 guys, perfect A players. Like, there's nothing over the past how many years, there's nothing that has been insurmountable. Absolutely nothing. Right? So it's just people just sit down, they dream about something, and it's turned to reality, right? So you always have to give them their shout outs. You know, next time you need to ask Aaron his story, ask Isaac his story.
But what's it like working with Emeka?
Isaac, let me start with you since Aaron is busy. What are the major challenges you face, and how do you see I don't know whether to call him your boss, Emeka. That's your boss?
I'm not his boss.
Or colleague. How do you see your colleague, and how do you find working here?
Okay, so actually working with Emeka, Aaron, Kingsley, and Uche is quite amazing, because I've never seen a team as blinded as this team. It's most people, they have the problem of once funds start coming in, they start having issues fighting within themselves. But I believe every member of the team, they have very strong trust amongst each other. So working with him has been an excellent journey.
What's your experience? Yes, in the field.
Okay, so I'm an electrical engineer. I've worked more than 18 years. In fact, I handled my first electrical contract when I was in my JS trip. I've worked with Huawei, I've worked with Power Projects, MTN, I've done some projects with Keeper, then before I entered the university.
That's impressive. So let's speak to Aaron too. Aaron, what's it like working here on a day-to-day basis?
So for some of us it's fun now. Right? it's for example, I was just threatening this guy now that we're sacking because he made a mistake now that he's.
Oh, you have the power to sack people?
No, just a way of releasing. You stressed me today. So it's fun. The thing there is that the fun thing about it is that we are doing things that people don't believe, people don't look at. So it gives a strong motivation. So every day you come, every challenge you face, you be like, in fact, if you do something and it goes so well, you start asking yourself, are you sure we are doing it so it's fun working every day, taking on different challenges. It's fun. And like I said earlier, the major part is that we are trying to do what cannot be done, what is not typically done locally. So of course we know that we are going to face normal challenges now, but we keep moving. And another sweet thing is that as I'm here doing my thing now, I'm not bothered about any other thing. Because I know he's handling everything he's supposed to handle to make sure everything goes, so all the different parts come together. I know once he's ready now, anything on the field, so I don't even tell me anything about that.
That's real division of labor.
So everybody just do what you need to do and believe that the other person will do the absolute best on their own.
That's what we said about trust and competence. So I think Emeka has a gift for us.
No, it's not necessarily.
Not yet.
Not yet.
So I told you about the boxes that we're using to share power.
Yes.
Between an anchor and the consumer. This is what it's going to look like. So I mean, you'll see one very soon in one of our clients' homes. Essentially, this, like what we saw in Esset.
Right.
We'll just install this on the wall, and then all the power coming from the solar PV goes in here. But then we'll have like 2 or 3, up to 20 outlets here.
Great.
And then you can connect whenever there's excess power, all of that excess power to people in the community.
I like how it's branded Greenage. So this is this constructed here, this particular device? So you constructed with the machines we saw in Jolarum. This is very impressive.
The most important thing is it's designed here. So you cannot go to the market anywhere in the world, Amazon, AliExpress, wherever, and find us. This entire technology is designed here, and because of the impressive nature of the technology, it has gotten massive international support. I'm talking Oxford University signing contracts with us. I'm talking Innovate UK, which is the lead, research and innovation institution in the UK. It's actually the government's sort of sole innovation center. I'm talking UNIDO, which is the United Nations, USADF, etc. All wanting to do.
So how many of these, if I can just really check how heavy this is, how many of these, is this complete?
This one is not complete.
So this is more of the box, this is more like the package for it. So how many of these can be made in a single day here at Greenage?
So by the time we go to the new factory, we can be able to produce at least 50 of this in a day.
Right.
Yeah. So the factory is quite massive. So you see it very soon. But this is just again one of those. I don't know if you looked closely downstairs, you see some of those really tacky sort of ones. And this still is going to go through significant improvement right over the next few months.
That's really
so
good.
By the time you come back in the next few months, what you're going to see is going to be like you're coming to an MHI factory or Huawei's factory, for instance.
I mean, what can we say? We can't wait to see the factory then.
Yeah, you have to say it.
His systems don't just serve institutions and businesses. Isaac's family, living in a quiet housing estate, is also enjoying 24/7 power, thanks to this indigenous and ingenious inverter systems with smart power sharing capacity.
So this is like the dashboard.
Right.
This gives me an overview of the total energy that was shared or generated. So you can see the numbers here. It tells me how many people have onboarded to use the system, how many are linked, how many are unlinked. It gives me the total energy usage, the total carbon that has been saved so far. I can tell who all the sort of installers are, right? I can see who all the anchors are, again in real time. And what this essentially helps me do is whenever there's any fault sort of anywhere, we're able to really flag this to whomsoever it is that is supposed to address it. So even before the customer notices the fault, our system is able to tell.
So this is basically like a snitch, more or less.
Yeah, this is, we call it remote observability. So, but then what we're doing next, actually, this is just like ground level. Next, we're actually getting some partnership with Palantir. I don't know if you know Palantir, the US-based machine learning / securities consultancy company. And what we are going to do with them is we build now a digital twin of all of the systems.
Right.
So when you have these 2,000 systems, there will be like a digital twin doing exactly what the systems are doing. So when there's any fault, we're able to flag it. We're able to take action actually to solve it in real time.
What I've really learned during the tour of this private residence is that there's always a focus on next.
Yeah.
It's never just this is what we've done.
Yeah.
And we cross our hands. It's always like, and next we're going to, and next we're going to. And I like the fact that this is a walking and progressive business.
Yeah.
And we can just hope for the best for
Yeah.
it.
So the thing about doing things is that when you do things, you see more things that can be done. Right? So I think it was one of the popes, I think John Paul, that said, knowledge is a very strange thing. Too little of it makes you loud, but too much of it makes you humble and quiet.
I like the sound of that.
So
Okay, so is there anything else to see but the new site of the factory, the new factory site?
right, let's go to the new factory
And
site.
we can't wait to see that. I think we've had so many opportunities to see it yet, but
Yeah.
I guess it will always be next away, right?
Yeah. There's always the next, right?
I know.
And
The
then
next has to keep coming.
beyond the new factory sites, next time is that you'll see, like, when we're organizing the conference next and bringing in all the people, some of the best people in the world have worked on smart grids. Because again, at this level, you can't afford to just be playing local, right?
That's right, yeah.
So when you want to do things, recently people have been asking, can you apply your technology in the US? Can you do it in the UK? How do we partner, to get this going? Because again, as simple as it sounds, you
Right.
can innovate from anywhere
That's
in
true.
the world, right? You don't necessarily have to be in Silicon Valley or wherever.
Exactly.
You need all of the leverage. I'm
Yes.
going there soon to get some leverage, but it's not going to stop me from being here.
Exactly.
Right? So I feel like that's the
But the only place you would not be is on that desk we saw earlier. working.
I could remake the desk somewhere else.
Exactly. So the desk and the position would stay there, and then you just keep on taking the next steps and the next steps.
Exactly,
Right?
yeah.
This is progressive. So right now, as we're walking, we can feel a little bit of what's left of the sun.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that the panels on the rooftops can as well.
Exactly.
They're all getting that energy and they're ready to power up these houses for the rest of the night.
Exactly.
The heartbeat of the Greenage dream lives here at the company's permanent factory site in Ugwogonike in Enugu East local government area of Enugu State.
Welcome to our factory site in Ugwogonike, Enugu State.
Right.
So this is where we are transitioning to, from the smallest piece that we saw earlier,
Right.
that you've seen is already like over capacity, and we needed to actually expand and significantly. So we decided to come here to build something that we can, grow and expand, into the near
And this is
future.
how many plots of land are we looking at here for this factory? Or
In
how many
total,
acres?
it's about 68 plots between here and the other side as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's impressive, truly. And how long has this construction been going on?
Like a year plus.
1 year plus.
Yeah.
Wow, this is huge. And there's obviously attention to detail.
Yeah. So again, right, like when I was talking about designing
Yeah.
and design requirements, everything here had its design requirements.
It's almost like this is honey and we're like the bees, because this was the first space that we walked into.
Exactly. And then, this place is going to become fully operational very soon. There a lot of work, was happening here. This place is another testament to the fact that if you're really good at one thing, you can transfer that knowledge to another thing.
Right.
So a lot of the construction you see here was supervised by Isaac. So this is his first building of this scale that he has handled.
That's a great one.
And he was
Isaac.
able to handle it to this sort of level of magnificence, if you think about that.
How were you able to secure the funding for this? How were you able to? Because obviously it smells of investment, it smells of money. How were you able to? Yes, we'll definitely. I think I just want to see this place first, because this is like the biggest hall I've ever seen.
Yeah. So we So one of our partners, Olon. So Olon Energy. So they are mostly based in Lagos. They are Shell sponsored, and they provide investment for mostly energy companies. So all the companies like say Oxwell, like Energy, all of them have gone through like the Olon sort of investment. So they are like our investment partners that provided the major investment for this particular facility.
Wow. And why Enugu? Why did you choose to do this in Enugu State?
So we are Enugu people
Yeah.
to start with, and we believe that development can happen anywhere. It doesn't have to be Lagos, it doesn't have to be in Kano, it doesn't have to be anywhere. So because we're Enugu people, we're already very comfortable with Enugu, and we know that we can ship from Enugu to pretty much anywhere we want to in the world, right? So that's one. And then two, Enugu is also like a springboard. So we're not going to stop in Enugu. We're moving from Enugu to Silicon Valley. We're moving from here to London. We're going to do things around the world, and like really beautiful things that are magnificent, if not more magnificent than this.
This is great. This is great. So what in the world is going to be going on within this space?
So this is going to be the space where their Ubuntu boxes will be manufactured.
Now I know what Ubuntu boxes look like.
Yeah, exactly. This is where the inverters will be made. And this is where, you remember the batteries that we stack up? This is also where they will be made. And then over time, at some point, maybe in the mid-future, we'll think of things like solar panels, assembly, etc. So essentially, this is going to be the hub for anything clean energy products, pretty much in the Southeast and possibly in Nigeria as well.
Let's talk about accessibility. I mean, this place is in Ubogonike.
Yeah.
And you have staff and trainees that would have to come here. So how are you carrying that accessibility concern in mind?
So for now, we're going to get a staff bus that would bring people, basically shuttle people to and fro. But then over time, we're going to build like a staff quarters sort of nearby, where even myself can come and stay for like a few weeks before,
And you're no stranger to staying in your workspace though, so that's not a problem.
It's something we've done so many times before.
I know.
But then like for instance, the road is a small challenge, but we've spoken to the governor, and he said he's going to address it soon. So I think it's going to come out quite nicely soon.
I think it's coming out quite nicely already.
Yeah.
So it's impressive. So maybe Isaac can show us the kitchen later.
Oh, yeah.
No problem.
Yes.
These are the workstations that are currently under construction. So for each of these workstations, be assembling at different stages of the production. So, like, you remember the robotic machine that we talked about? We'll have a few of them on some of them. The ovens, a few of them on some of them. Then there'll be some soldering machines, where some things that you can't necessarily put via the robotic pick and place machine. Those ones will be also here with people on the soldering station, placing some of those. And then when you're done with putting the boards together, as you saw there, then there's going to be like the assembly line, and then after the assembly, then the storage hub, and then from the storage, then you can ship it out
all the way up.
Yeah.
I mean, this is so impressive, and it's a great way to, I think, round up this tour.
Yeah.
I have to ask you this. At this point, where do you see yourself in the next 5 to 10 years?
Isaac asked me this kind of question at the beginning of this year about what I hoped for, and I was like, I don't like to hope for too many things again. And the reason is because sometimes you take too many risks, and the more of these risks you take, the more on the edge your life becomes, right? So a lot of these things I didn't even see 5 years ago, right? But today we see them. But in the next 5 years, very good question. I think I just want to really double down on the whole power situation. Like, where the governments are unable to solve some of these problems, I want to be an institution that can solve them, right? I want to be able to bring in several hundreds of megawatts, several power plants, including the gas turbines I talked to you about, the steam turbines, the optimization technologies that we are developing in the lab, some of these independent distributed solutions. You really put everything together and power like the economies. For me, the nexus between energy and the economy can never be overstated, right? So for me, that's like the thing. And then the way to do that is by taking some of the steps we are taking today. So today I'm here, like I just came into Enugu like a few days ago.
Right.
I'm leaving for Lagos on Wednesday. I'll go back to the UK on Friday. I'll be in the US in about 3 weeks. I'll go to China in about 7 or 8 weeks, just putting some of these building blocks together. The next plan is to incorporate like a smart energy company in the US and in China as well, drive more investment and bring all of that investment home. And then by the time you're able to do this, build all of this power infrastructure, all of this smart infrastructure, then you can start building, momentum. One of your colleagues said something earlier about the problem usually being that they generate, but there's no demand. But you see, we are building both generation and demand at the same time. And I think that's how you need to sort of tweak the model. Mm-hmm. And then beyond Nigeria, we also have partners now in Tanzania, in Ghana, in South Africa, and we're going to operate in sort of all of these spaces. And for now, nothing we are doing is going to be small. We're going to start small, we're going to build lean, but we want to grow very fast. And we need like all the partnerships, the governments, the large conglomerates, the really big institutions. We need everyone to come together and share in this dream, share in this vision of how we can solve our problems and not just keep complaining.
Right.
Because we need to take action.
We started off camera with a simple question, which I cannot leave without asking you.
Yeah.
There are many people that want to have something of this nature, that want to have the size of this, the magnitude of this, but they're unable to. No matter what they say to investors, no matter what they pitch, they're unable to get any of it. It's almost like they're not being taken seriously. What's your secret?
So it's been a combination of so many factors. In the beginning, in all honesty, no investor would listen, right? So what we did then was to use our own personal savings because we believed a lot in what we were doing. So we could burn cash, all the cash we had, and believed that we were going to get, something at the end of this. So when people begin to see that your drive is actually good enough for you to take those risks as opposed to just passing the risks to someone else, then they start taking you a bit more seriously. And then another thing is consistency, right? So sometimes as someone who is, finishing up his PhD at Oxford, people ask me, oh, do you want to go and work in McKinsey or the World Bank? And I'm like, I've worked there before. I've worked in the World Bank before. I've co-authored a book with the World Bank. I've worked with McKinsey. I've helped them to do some really cool projects. I'm like, I don't find those as exciting, as being able to build something from ground up, right? So I think that consistency of having to start something, like 6-7 years ago when there was nothing, watching it grow, learning, every day, and putting that learning back into what you're doing makes your story much more compelling to people. But it's not just about the story, it's about the delivery. So for instance, I could have been, talking to people about, oh, do this, do that. If I didn't show you these things, right, it would be a very different story. But you seeing it is like, okay, this is actually something that is compelling. Right. So the next time I want to go and pitch to people, I would actually be going with my Ubuntu boxes and the software.
Exactly.
And I'll say, please plug this here, plug this here.
You said something about working in obscurity earlier. And, I think because nobody would know the world of impact you're making just when you walk up and speak to them. Yeah. So I have to ask this final question. What are your hobbies then? What do you do when you're not traveling to the US, to China, to the UK?
I watch a lot of football.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I also like movies.
Right.
I like to listen to music. But then I think the one I've come to enjoy the most now is swimming. So I love to swim a lot. Then I also love to take my early morning runs. So fun stories. A few years ago, I was a bit bigger than this, like 15 kgs more. And then I started running. Again, another sort of story of consistency. Started doing 1 kilometer, 2, 3, 5, and then I got to the point where I could do 10 kilometers every day. And within a few months, I'd shrunk by like 15 kgs. Right? I need to go back to those beautiful days when I could run every day. But it's something I really enjoy doing. So,
all right. I mean, this was a worthwhile day. I mean, this is Godwin, Emeka, Maxwell, Nwangele. You've heard everything. You've seen that this is the future of energy in Nigeria. Let's complete it. Energy solutions, not just in Nigeria, across the continent, and possibly globally. An Eastern promise, a real Eastern promise that we should definitely feel inspired by. We wish you the very best in the next 5 to 10 years to come.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much
for
giving us the pleasure of seeing this space.
And I will invite you again when we're about to launch the space. So we're bringing in a lot of our partners to come
Right.
here, and then you see actually the first sort of sets of systems roll out. And I think that's the beauty of the story, because we want people to see it, to get inspired, and try doing really cool stuff.
That's great. And just talk about engagement, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see how this all turns out. Thank you once again for your time.
Thank you so much.
All right, let's see if Maxwell Emeka Godwin Nwangele would win a seat at the 100 over 100 table. Time will tell us. Bye for now.
Chukwuemeka Nwangele is not just a name in energy. He's a promise from the Southeast, a testament that the future is only a step away. And he's one to watch.